Welcome to Pyrotechnics, the podcast brought to you by your number one publication, Fireworks Rock and Metal Magazine. Please check out fireworksmagazine.com or firescapeofficial.com for information on our latest issue. Now it's time for the good stuff, so please welcome your host, Pete Arnett.
Do I try to live in others' eyes, ebb and flow? Oh, I know. Inside out, an eternal fight with my hidden doubts. And oh, how I know. Oh, I know. In this heart, I still want to believe that you can live by the sword, die by the sword, with no one to judge as you carry the torch. Oh, I know, yes, I know. They lift you up by the same hand, they can drag you down. To the walls, throwing bones, throwing bones, throwing bones to the walls. When you throw in your bones to the walls, throwing bones, throwing bones, throwing bones to the
Wow, what a way to start a podcast. That was Throwing Bones from the new Turkish Delight II album. And I've got to say, I heard this for the first time yesterday. I urge everybody, go and listen to it. It is absolutely fantastic. Our guest, who I'm going to introduce in a wee minute, has done an absolutely fantastic job on this. It really is a belt. And it's one of the few that I would say the sequel is actually better than the original. It is that good. First of all, welcome to Pyrotechnics, a podcast brought to you by Fireworks Rock and Metal Magazine, your number one magazine for everything rock and metal. Issue 103 is out now, so go ahead and buy it. I have with me today the editor of Fireworks Rock and Metal Magazine. Welcome to the show, Bruce.
Hello, everybody, once again.
And it's quite hard to describe our guest for today because, to be fair, you could throw nearly every label at him. He's a record label owner, he's a president, he's a producer, he's a talent finder, I'm sure at some stage he's probably done every single job that the record industry has to offer. Please welcome to the show today, Escape Music Limited's very own Khalil Turk. Welcome, Khalil.
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you all.
Right, let us start with the absolute phenomenon that is Turkish Delight II. How pleased are you with the way it's come out?
Bruce will tell you because he's been listening to it since, each song I finish, Bruce had heard it from day one. And I'm very pleased with it. And it's been a challenge working with 46 musicians from different parts of the world, and putting it together, driving the engineer crazy, changing guitar player, changing drummer, changing bass player. So at the end, he called me a pain in the ass, and after the project, he's going to hang himself.
I'm sure he doesn't mean it.
He doesn't mean it. He doesn't mean it, No, I love Frederick. He's a great guy, but I drive him nuts.
I mean, obviously you had the success with the first one, and it was a very well-received album, let's be fair. I mean, this one, like I said in the beginning, this is one of the few times where I do think the sequel is actually better than the original. When you were putting this together, is that a feeling that you were getting as well?
Thanks. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, because the first one was tasting the water, because I wanting to do this Turkish Delight for many, many years. Because I remember when, if you remember AOR Boulevard, with Mark Ashton, and also another magazine, I used to have a page called Turkish Delight. I mean, occasionally I used to write something, about what things I discovered, So this thing stayed with me, and when I started the record label, I thought, maybe it's about time after 30 years to do something and call it Turkish Delight, So the first attempt was really, really, I'm very happy with, and I'm still working, on the third one. It's just like it's becoming an addiction, when you start something and you achieve something and it's so satisfactory. So the next one, you are more pleased with it. So it's become like an addiction, like you just don't want to stop, carry on working,
So I mean, obviously you've let the cat out of the bag now. There is a third one on its way. Is this a series that you can see running and running and running?
I would like to think so until I run out of musician, because I do like to change different musician on each project, different vocalists, and certain vocalists like Robin McCauley, which I love his voice, Jeff Scott Soto, and they are regular, on the album. Like I've got another track by Robin, he already finished for me for the third one. I have Jerome Mazza, another song. I'm waiting for Harry Hess, his vocal to arrive. Also Dino Jelusick has got another song that there are really the next one is going to be completely different.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be completely different, yes.
Is it in terms of tone or in song, or?
It's going to be more, kind of a rock meet a bit of progressive, but at the same time, it's very, very interesting, Bruce, what do you think? The one you heard?
Khalil, you're playing me so many songs, I can't even remember. But you scared me there when you said progressive, because I'm not a big fan of.
No, not in the progressive in the sense that it's going to be like a Dream Theater, or it's more like it's kind of a rock, but a little bit of element of progression on the, like.
All I know is that every time you play me tracks from Turkish Delight, they always sound amazing. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be amazing. I can't remember anything specific you played me from number 3.
Yeah, you heard Billy Greer track that is going to be on the third one. You heard Jerome Mazza track, Strong.
Were they originally going to be on number two? Because you played with so many that
Yeah,
were.
because I have so many, so so I maybe things might change during the period of time, maybe other songs,
I remember I totally loved the Billy Greer track because I love Billy Greer. I remember that now. But
but
yeah,
this is something, the second one,
yeah.
there are some really interesting musician, and vocalists on the third one.
The one of the questions, I mean, I've always, when you sort of get these kind of albums, you see all the amazing artists that are on it, and to be fair, yours is a who's who of absolutely, fantastic artists. How big is your contact list on your phone, and who do you decide sings what?
It's like tossing the coin, whose luck is in, it's like, no, I mean, like over the 30 years, I became friend with many people, new and old, and I kept in touch. One thing about me, I always keep in touch with the musician I work with, no matter if we don't work. Like I've known Jeff Scott Soto for 30 years. And when I contacted him, I said, Jeff, I want you to do it. Oh, I would love to, because I remember meeting Jeff in Germany in 1992 or 93 in Long Island Record, and we went to see Dream Theater together. So we became friends, but it's like I can email him anytime and he would respond, and he would just do whatever, because we become friends, And also the same with Robin, the same with, Chris Uzi or Steve Overland or anybody. Like, I mean, when you have a good reputation in the business, people will accommodate you,
I can just imagine all these emails going out saying, hello, so-and-so, this is Khalil. I want you to be on my new record. I could just...
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, all of the contact that I asked, they never said no, except one Swedish, I don't want to name him.
Right.
I must say he's a great singer, really absolutely brilliant singer. And he is one of the wasted talent by singing some cheesy crap AOR,
Okay, so there is somebody that said no then.
Yeah, one person out of 130 musicians I contacted.
One question I'd like to ask you, Khalil, is
Yes.
why? Because myself, I'm a big fan of female vocalists, but
Yes.
Turkish Delight just does not seem to have any female vocals.
Well, I left the female vocalist to you.
Yeah, I know, but
so I'm so kind, because I know you like, women vocalists. I said, oh, I'll give it to Bruce,
Yeah, I'm glad you did, but I'd still like to hear maybe one or two on Turkish Delight.
To be honest with you, I don't think my type of material was suit female vocalists. I mean, like you heard the female vocalists I did, for the album, and also ended up some of them on Circle of Friends. It's just like I find it female vocalists, it doesn't fit. No disrespect to them. I love female vocals. I mean, I love like Darby Mills. I like Robin Beck. She's a great singer. I love Tanya. I mean, Gabby. They are all brilliant singers. Like, you cannot dispute that. But at the same time, because putting a female vocalist in an album like Turkish Delight, they'll be out of place, I mean, with no disrespect to them. I mean, something like, with the Circle of Friends, like you have 5 or 6 female vocalists, and it fits because there are other female vocalists, it makes it much more cohesive, and interesting. Do you get my point? Because
yeah.
With Turkish Delight, it's just like it will be out of place. I mean, like I love the performance of Darby Mills that she's done on Circle of Friends, and she's done on the second one. I mean, Robin vocal is brilliant. I always loved Robin Beck vocal, and of course her daughter Olivia. I mean, I just love her voice, She is just upcoming star. I think Olivia can be a good rock vocalist if she's got good songs. I mean, like the one she's on the Circle of Friend, Starlight.
Yep.
That is incredible song. That is really incredible. I mean, her delivery and Robin's backing vocal with James Christian is just stunning. So I'm glad that it's on your albums, Chris.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, it's just a killer. Yeah.
Another question I wanted to ask you, Khalil.
Yes.
Like when we in Mark Aston ran Now and Then 20 years ago, our slogan was quality, not quantity.
Yes.
And that seems to be something that Escape seems to be doing the same. You're only doing maybe one album a month, and you're taking such a long time to get the production absolutely perfect.
Yes.
Where some other labels might be releasing 5, 10 albums a month.
12, 13.
Which I think is just crazy. But so how important do you think it is for you personally and Escape to take your time to be so pedantic and exact about the production and the sound quality, sometimes even changing it 9 times?
Yeah, you saw that, with Steve Overland new solo album. I showed you we ended up at mix number 8.
9.
And Steve and myself, we are really, really meticulous. Steve Overland and myself. I mean, like we just go through the tracks, like nobody does that. And because we want to keep the standard high, really, because if a person wants to buy a CD, I mean, like myself, I was a huge fan of buying CD. If I go to the shop, buy a CD and bring it home and listen to it, and it sounds like not very good, I'll be really upset, disappointed. So why spend 10, 12 pounds on a CD and it just doesn't sound good, So that's why I want to have the people happy and enjoy what they buy, what they spend their money on, because I don't want them to be disappointed. So that's why I take a lot of time to make sure when I'm happy with the final production, and that's what, then we say, right, it's done, it can go out now. And then it's up to the public to decide whether they like it or not, because you can't please everybody. There are some people, they just never satisfy, so what can you do? You just try to please everybody.
Right, we're going to give Khalil a wee bit of a break, and we're going to now go into another track music. This is Reign of Vultures by Jelusick. Here we go.
now. Reign of vultures will take us
Right then, Bruce, over to you.
Right. Well, one of the conversations we've had in previous podcasts and also in the magazine is the discussion about digital Spotify versus hard copy CDs. And I see it as a buyer, and I see it also doing my own CDs. I'm pretty much against Spotify. I think it's killing the scene. I wanted to know from Khalil, as a record company owner, how he views digital and Spotify. Do you see it as a necessary evil for people to listen to your albums, or do you find that people are not buying your albums because they're listening to it on Spotify?
This is, I don't know if you read about the same thing Steve Lukather recently posted on his Facebook about, digital platform and how, unhappy he is about, the sales and how much the income, is from the Spotify or any digital, not one particular platform, all of them, And I agree because, we get nothing. We get nothing. I mean, like you can have a stream of 100. I mean, for example, I have one foreigner track, Waiting for a Girl Like You with Robert Berry on vocal, which I did, 20 years ago, and just released it on digital. And in 6 months, it's got more than 130,000 stream. 130,000 stream in less than, few months. And the income of that is no more than, $20.
So wrong.
I mean, maybe even less. I mean, honestly, it's more than 130,000 stream. On YouTube alone, it's 96,000 stream. 96,000 stream on YouTube alone, and 1,500, likes.
Yeah. Didn't you tell me, say about 15, 20 years ago with Heartland in Japan,
Yes.
you used to sell 15, 20,000 CDs.
Yeah.
And now, even in Japan, the market's dead.
Yeah. I mean, you spend, for example, I spend a lot of money on production, as you know, Bruce. And when you try to shop it to Japan, they want to give you like $1,000 for advance. And I said, is this for my artwork or for what? I mean, the artwork alone is cost, $1,200-$1,500 pound to make. And then, this guy wants to give you $1,000 to, and I said, no. I said, I wouldn't give you,
With Escape, you have found album sales over the last 10 years being significantly less.
It's with everybody. It's with everybody because, with the digital, everybody wants it, easy access. They can have a new album the day of release. They can have it on their mobile. They can have it on their computer. They listen to it. It's just easy access, And then I think because the income of the sales is not a lot, I think people like us, we invest a lot of money in production. Let this carry on, because we will not be doing any more spending money on production. I'd rather not do it, than spend a lot of money, and nobody bother to buy the actual CD or the vinyl, So
I'll say, because that's one of the questions I've got as well, because I think, from your point of view, because obviously we've had the artist point of view, because we had Greg Hart from Cats in Space on the podcast, but to get yours from behind the mixing desk, so to speak, the production side of it all, how do you see the business changing with the digital downloads? And like you said, people wanting things now, not prepared to wait, not prepared to get that physical CD in their hand. Do you see, first of all, the CD dying out? Do you see record companies dying out because of these digital downloads? Because, I'm harking back to, there was a group called Babylon Zoo a while back ago, and it was a chap that did it all in his bedroom on his computer, released the song Spaceman, and it was a smash hit for ages. But if you can do that on your computer in your bedroom, that's not good for record companies.
Yeah, because this is not artists. This is something like, people on their computer, they can use auto-tune, they can use everything, all the gadget, to make it sound great. That's exactly what Steve Lukather said on his, on his Facebook. And I 100% agree with him, because there are so many people, they have a little computer in their, bedroom, and all the plugin, they can download, and then they can do everything, and that's why the music, there is no real musician anymore. Like there are, but not like in the old days, like you have to go to the studio or to do things. It's just everything has become too, digital.
Do you fear for the CD?
Well, I've been fearing for the last of CD for the last 15 years, and it is declining, unless, the governments start doing something about the digital sales, because, there is no control over it, it's really a crime. Like when you have a stream more than 100,000 plus stream to get $20. What is the justification here?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just imagine if it was 130,000 single was sold, physical single. It's a different thing, It's just sad, really, really sad.
Even if they paid 50 cents or whatever it would be, that's obviously still going to be $65,000, which that's a much fairer return. And I don't understand personally why they don't do it, apart from greed.
We'd be happy if we get 20 cents, not 50 cents.
Yeah.
I mean, we are getting 0.00001. I mean, like, I mean, it's just less than a penny.
Ridiculous. So, Khalil, if you could do one thing, just one thing to change this industry at the moment in time regarding digital downloads and streaming platforms, what would it be?
I mean, I'm not saying to stop the digital platform, because it's so easy access to the music, which is, it's not fair to say to stop it. But I urge the companies, like, the digital platform to be more, generous with the artists and giving bigger royalty, and instead of less than 1 cent, at least, give us, maybe 20, 30 cents per stream, which makes it much more, feasible.
The way I look at it is going back 20, 30 years, you go into a pub, there's a bloody jukebox in the corner. You put in 50 pence to play 3 songs.
Yes.
So what's the difference between putting money into a jukebox and streaming music on your phone?
It's not different.
If you're paying 10 pence or 20 pence to listen to a song, that is so much more fairer, and it gives the artists a good amount of money to continue to write new music. Well, that's how I see it.
I mean, that's what I say. I mean, like, if the stream can, instead of giving you less than 1 cent, if they give you 30 cents, I mean, just imagine 100,000 stream, 30 cents. You're talking about $30,000 per song. So that is, makes the musician, to be able to live, and the record company be able to invest on other production, and, making the music scene, music industry much healthier. At the moment, the only people that are making money is Spotify and iTunes, Pandora, because they it's easy money.
I just wanted, I guess, our next topic, I wanted to actually talk about some of Escape's albums that were coming up, because I'm really, the one that Khalil was playing me last week, which really surprised me, was the new Hurricane album.
Yes.
Like everybody else, I was concerned about, because it's not going to be Kelly Hansen on vocals, obviously. So people are saying, oh, it's not Hurricane without Kelly Hansen. You can't say that. So many bands have changed their vocalists. It depends on the quality of the vocalist, the quality of the songs. And I listened to 3 songs in Khalil's car, and the vocalist was great and the songs were great. And I'm hoping people will be pleasantly surprised about this. So I just wanted to ask Khalil, how did that deal come around? How did you get in touch with Hurricane and manage to sign Hurricane to Escape?
I mean, I don't know if you remember, because we released an album called Snow, reissued with Tony Cavazio on bass, and we've known each other, and also the engineer who was working with him in America, Andy Zuckerman, and because Andy does all the recording for Robin McCauley vocal and other things. So Andy was really engineering, the thing. And he told me about Hurricane about 2.5 years ago, that they were recording, and they're, for the new album. So he sent me some song, which I really like. So it was under wrap until, was almost finished. And then I spoke to Tony, and he's the original member. And we he didn't want to be with the other labels. So he was happy to sign with us, because it was a very fair deal. And I mean, I got Hurricane, and I'm very proud of it. And because they are a great guy to work with, Tony, Robert, they are great musician, and I Mike, and they are really a nice bunch of people to work with.
And this album is coming out in August next month?
Yeah, August 25th.
Brilliant. And there's a vinyl as well?
Yeah, vinyl, limited edition, and CD.
Perfect. The other album that you're doing that's got me really, really excited, and I've heard all of it, is the new Overland album. Because for me, when I was younger, I was a massive FM fan. Well, for the first 2 albums anyway. And then they went off on a kind of sidetrack on their bluesy scene, which I didn't really like. And I've never really warmed back to FM since Tough It Out. But when I heard this new album, because it's not got any blues in it at all, and it's I just thought this is the best thing I've heard Steve do since Tough It Out. It's just an amazing album. So again, how did you put that together? You got him working with the guy from Work of Art. They wrote all the songs together.
Yeah, I mean, Steve worked with Robert Sal on Ground. I think it's called the project. I'm not sure it's called Groundbreaker or Ground Shaker.
Groundbreaker, yeah.
I'm not sure which one it is. And yeah, and I always liked Robert's work because Robert is so talented musician, brilliant guitar player, fantastic, keyboard player. And when Steve finished doing, the Lone Rider album, and I said to Steve, what about next solo album? He said, who do you have in mind? I said, what about Robert Sal? And he said, wow, I like working with Robert. So I spoke to Robert. I said, are you interested? And Steve, both of us, we spoke. And Robert said he would love to. He said the only person that he would like to work with, it would be Steve Overland. So it became, and I told him, I said, look, no stress, no deadline, no, pressure. Whenever you have something to send to Steve, just send it, because Robert doesn't like pressure. And that's why it took almost 2 years, to do the album. And it worked really well. I mean, we have 14 songs. Yeah, as you heard it, they are really good songs. So 12 on the CD and 14 on the vinyl.
Yeah. And some of these songs sound like they could have come off straight off Indiscreet. Even the keyboard sound, it's like, wow, this is Indiscreet. It's just an amazing album.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's a really good album. I'm very proud of it. Really proud of it. Really, I'm happy with the result.
Yeah. And the other album you've got coming out, which we really need to talk about, because I know there was a lot of hard work going into making this signing, is the Jelusick debut album.
Yes.
And that, I mean, I saw the guy when he was touring with Whitesnake and he was awesome. And now his debut solo album, when's that coming out?
That will be September 29th.
Right. And you've got to tell us how you managed to get this, because this is a massive signing.
I mean, I've been a fan of Dino for many years, from, when he released the album, Animal Drive. And sadly, I didn't have the contact, because I think Jeff Scott Soto, introduced Jelusick to Frontiers. And they released, Animal Drive. He's such a brilliant singer. Everybody wants him. And then he did vocal like on with George Lynch, Dirty Shirley, and I mean, like it just somehow it didn't work between them. And I have always been in touch with Dario, the manager, which is Dino's father. They are fantastic people, really lovely family, very, accommodating. So I said to him, I want Dino to guest on Turkish Delight. He said, yeah, okay, send us a track. So I sent him, the song for Turkish Delight. At first he was, worried about, because the lawsuit was going between, them, between Frontiers. And I said, look, just do the song. And he did it, and I was blown away by it. And then when their lawsuit finished and the album was ready, they sent it to me, and I just loved it. And I really love working with them because, the father and son, they are really accommodating and very, Dario is only what he wants the best for the band.
Yeah.
And I work with him so closely.
I remember when you played it to him in the car, the production, it sounds like a massive 80s, 90s production. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean like a multi-million-pound production that Whitesnake used to have.
Yes.
It just sounded massive with the Hammond organs. It was just incredible.
I mean, every song written by Dino. He plays the keyboard. He done all the arrangement. He plays drum. Of course, the drummer is there, but he is so talented. Sometimes on his concert, you can see he just go and pick the, the sticks and is playing drum. He's such a talented young man, incredible talent, and very, very sweet person, really, really sweet guy. You can communicate with him, you know. I mean, like Josh Divine, you know, Mick's Divine son, he's a drummer. I mean, I call him my adopted nephew. And the same, you know, with Dino, he's another nephew that I have adopted, you know. I just love their, you know, their work ethic, and they are such a brilliant musician.
One thing that I've always wanted to ask is, how do you find the bands, or do they come to you?
Yeah, I mean, they always come to me. Like I get every day, you know, 10, 15, you know, people send me demo. I mean, to be fair, I don't delete them. You know, I just listen to it as a respect, you know, because if they have the courtesy to send to me their demo, the least thing I can do, you know, just to listen to it. Because sometimes out of 10, you can have, you know, one killer, you know, band. I mean, like, for example, this band called Cold Spell from Sweden. And when they sent me their demo about, I think it must have been about 14, 15 years ago. I mean, usually, you know, I just listen to one song and say, oh, no, maybe the singer is not good, the songs, and I listen to the second one. But after the third one, I just say, no, it's not good, you know. But with like Cold Spell, from the moment I listened to the first song, and I was just blown away. I said, wow, what a band. And I said, so I got in touch with them, and I said, look, I really like your demos, you know, the 5 songs. So how about, you know, getting the song recorded, and I can get Tommy Hansen, you know, to mix it, you know, and they said, really? I said, yeah. So I got Tommy to do their first album, and it sounded amazing, really. And then the second one, and I did 4 albums with them, you know, with the Cold Spell. And sometimes potluck, sometimes, you know, you can get a fantastic band, and that's why you have to listen to them. It doesn't matter what it is, because sometimes out of 10 people send you album, one of them can be lucky, but sometimes can be none of them very good. So really it's potluck. But, you know, if you don't hear back from me, like, you know, it's not for us. But if you hear back from me, I mean, if something is really good, I'll be the first to phone before the other magpie, you know, grab it, you know. I had something from Spain, you know, and I listened to it. Because sometimes you don't have time, because I have so much thing going on. So I listened to the 4 or 5 songs they sent me. I listened to the first one. I said, the second one, no. The third, because you give them the chance. And then after the 4th and 5th, he said, no, it's not for me, you know. But I do listen. I mean, some band, you know, they get really upset because there is a band from somewhere from Eastern Europe. They sent me a demo, and they were really average, you know, at best. And so I said, sorry, you know, I'm not interested. So they go online and badmouth you. What? Just said, I'm sorry, not interested. And they become really, you know, unpleasant about you, you know, like, so you sometimes, you know, you have to put up with shit, you know.
Yeah, that's life, isn't it, in some respects? But right then, let us have another exclusive. I mean, again, Khalil's been really kind with some of these tracks. So this one is You and I from the upcoming Hurricane album. And again, it's an absolute belter. And there you have it. You and I from Hurricane. New album coming out very, very soon. Okay, one thing that we've noticed, looking at the releases you've done, is your love of vinyl.
I think it's nostalgic thing, and also, but I mean, like people they say, oh, it's a big surge on vinyl and all this, I don't think so. I think vinyl is only limited to certain, fan, not to everybody. I mean, even like CDs. Now some of the people, they don't even have a CD player, I mean, like one of the artists, they guested on the album. I said, oh, I would like to send you the vinyl and the CD. He said, Khalil, I'd love to have them, but I don't have a turntable. I don't have a CD player. So don't waste your money. It's a niche, it's not, they make it sound, it's really, big comeback vinyl. I mean, that's why, you do 300 run or 500, and not even the big band. I mean, unless you are really massive seller, then you can make maybe a few thousand. But even certain big band, they're not selling 2,000 copy of vinyl or 3,000. This is, you're talking about the really major band. So really, I love vinyl. I do enjoy buying vinyl, but as a demand for it, it's not as big as they led public to believe. It's just like it's a niche market, for underground fan who they like to have everything. And I heard from people that they buy vinyl, they just buy it and they don't even open it. So what's the big deal? When you're buying vinyl, so why you don't play it? He said, yeah, but we like to keep it sealed and with. I said to look at it. I said, yeah, open it and look at the color of the vinyl.
I mean, that's something as well that because I said, you don't seem to just do the bog standard black ones. I mean, the Turkish Delight one.
Yes.
They are such luscious colours. The marble vinyls, they're absolutely beautiful. I mean, this seems to fit into your ethos of, trying to do the most perfect package that you can. I mean, they really are lovely.
I mean, the thing is, I really go to town on my vinyl, on my CD, everything. I make sure everything is, I would like to think is perfect. I don't know what the public thinks, because, you have everybody got their own opinion. If they, like it, which is great, it satisfies my company, me, Barry. And if they don't like it, so all I can say, I've done my best. If you don't like it, then what can you do, And then, some customer, they'll be very pleased, they're happy, they can be satisfied. And some certain customer, they can always whinge,
Yeah, how dare you put extra tracks on the vinyl?
Track on the vinyl, so what, So this is the thing that, to make it special, like people, because if you're investing so much money on a product, so you do need a return, on your money investment by giving extra, to somebody spending like £28 on the vinyls instead of like £12. So they need to have an extra track, you don't expect them to, to have the same as the CD.
Very true. I mean, Khalil, for people that are listening, your love of music, your passion for music is absolutely, it just stands out a mile. What got you into the music business? What made you wake up one day, think, right, that's what I want to do?
This is $1 million question. That's what everybody, even my family, asked me this, And when I was a student, I used to travel a lot, and I used to go to America, to Canada, and I used to buy the most obscure AOR record. Like, I used to spend a lot of time in secondhand shop because to find independent release, wow, this, by the look of the cover and turn the band picture, I mean, it used to be, oh, this is interesting. I used to buy maybe hundreds of vinyl, used to come back with it, I used to send it to Dave Reynolds in Kerrang, Kelvin Hellraiser, to review it in Kerrang. And if you talk to Dave Reynolds, he would tell you like 9.5 out of 10, I was spot on with my, recommendation. And I was really, giving them a lot of stuff, to review. And then a record company in Germany, Long Island Record, they were after, because they were reissuing some obscure classic. And they contacted Kelvin Hellraiser to say if they have certain titles. And Kelvin said to them, look, why don't you contact Khalil, because he has everything. You name it, he has it, which I do. And they contacted me. They said, do you have this? I said, yes, I have. He said, would you mind if we, you send us the copy and we want to do it on CD and blah, blah, blah. And I said, fine. And after a few months, they said to me, would you like to work with us as an A&R? Because at the same time, I had a lot of contact. Like I was in touch with a lot of bands, which I've discovered. So I worked with them for 2 years or 2.5 years. I was giving them a lot of big names, like I gave them Message with Dean Fasano and Richie Sambora, Alex Sach. I gave them Heartland, second unreleased album. Robert Berry from To the Power of Three. I mean, like the list went on and on, And I didn't like the ethic of their work, because they were releasing too many titles, like certain label they are doing, and I wasn't happy with that. I said, why should I give you one great album and then you release 10 average album? So I didn't like it. So I decided. I said, I learned the work of the business, like how to operate the record label. So I decided to set up, our own record company with Barry. So, and then Barry and myself, we started with the first release was a band from Puerto Rico. We released that one, which it's incredible, called Matador. That was our first release, and it's amazing rock album. Really, really, really. Even Jeff, when Jeff heard it in Germany, he really liked it. He says it's great. So, and then we had Heartland. It just built up, and like we used to license some, like Shout, another band, with John Levis from Wild Horses on vocal. Like the list went on, and then I became really, to enjoy it. And then we started Heartland's second album. Then Message, second album, third album with Dean Fasano. It just grow and grow and grow, And now, with next in September, it will be our 400 release.
400?
400.
Wow.
To celebrate Dino's album, 400 release in September. 400 releases in 30 years.
The slogan that Bruce said at the beginning, quality, not quantity. I mean, it's an absolute perfect fit for what you guys do at Escape.
Yeah, I mean, we take quality very seriously, really, really seriously. I mean, if we recording, like for example, Steve Overland album taken 2 years to make. I mean, like we will not rush it. Deadline, oh, you have to release it this month. If it's ready, we release it. If it's not ready, we just carry on working.
I was going to say, it's also why Escape sometimes have to wait 8 months for the vinyls.
Yeah.
Where certain other companies, they wait 2 weeks for the vinyl.
Yeah, because I use the best vinyl pressing plant, like they do for Sony, they do for Warner. They are one of the record industry, they call. They are from Holland. They are perfectionists. They are, the high standard quality. They don't cut the corners. I mean, I work with them really. You have to wait, which I don't mind, because I know the result would be top. I enjoy working with them, and I think they enjoy working with me, because when I send them something, they love it.
Right, Jeff. I've got a question for the pair of you now. You guys sort of joined forces in some respect, and we had Firescape, the website. there was a collaboration obviously between Fireworks and Escape Music as well. And originally the plan was to have one of the sort of like Firefest-esque concerts coming, next year, I think it was. But the bad news or the sad news is at the moment that's not going to happen. And I know there's obviously reasons why it's happened, but can you guys sort of elaborate further on at the moment why it's not happening? And is it likely to happen in the future? Is there any chance of resurrecting it?
Let me answer that first. See, the idea originally, because me and Khalil, we both live in Stockport, so it made sense for us. The venue was always going to be in Stockport. And we were looking at the Stockport Plaza, which is a 1,400 all-seated venue. And it's a gorgeous venue. So I contacted them, must have been around, October last year. I talked to the manager, and I showed them clips of the Firefest videos we've done. Told them we've done Firefest for 10 years in Nottingham. We want to move it up to Stockport because we're changing the name, and me and Khalil come from Stockport. And he goes, oh yeah, that's really interesting. I'll get back in touch with you. A month went by, I got back in touch. So I got back in touch with him and said, like, what's going on? He says, oh, it's pantomime season at the moment. I'm really busy. But if you drop me an email first week in January next year, which was this year, I'll get back to you. So I waited till January, sent him an email, came back saying, oh, standard reply, he's on holiday till the middle of January. So I'm like, oh, okay. So again, I waited till the end of January, texting him. And this went backwards and forwards until I think it was March or April.
Yes, in March we went to meet him.
We went to meet him and toured around the venue. And we really liked it. We're like, oh, wow, this could be exactly what we're looking for. And he seemed friendly enough. But we always had the feeling that he was not quite wanting us to have a rock concert in his venue because these rockers might destroy it. But what I found really funny was that they actually have this concert called The Sounds of the 80s, where they have bands playing all the hits from the 80s, from Survivor, Journey, Bryan Adams, Meatloaf, Queen, and they have these over a weekend. And that's our audience. And I'm saying to them, look, you already do this stuff. Our age group is in the 50s to 70s. They don't want to stand all day. They want to sit down. So it was perfect. So he says, like, okay, well, drop me an email in 2 weeks' time and we come up with a date. So went by, dropped an email, no reply. So I ended up phoning him up and saying, look, I need to know. And he says, oh, well, I'll get back in touch with you next week and let you know what dates. And this would have been about April, May. And then he gets back in touch with me and says, like, because when we saw him in person, when we went to look at the venue, we told him what our plan was. It had to be Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, obviously. But come May, he phones me up and he sends me an email saying, like, oh, I can offer you Monday to Wednesday. I'm like, huh? Monday to Wednesday? Come on. It has to be the weekend when people are not working. It has to be a weekend. And he comes back to me and says, oh, well, I can't give you a weekend until July 2024. July, that's when everybody's on holiday. The plane flights are at the maximum because it's summer. And I just said to Khalil, look, this guy just messing us around. He's been messing us around for 7 months now. I've had enough. To me, it's just a sign to say, don't do it. And I just gave up. It had to be, people might say, well, can you not do it back in Rock City or look for another venue? It had to be Stockport because we both live in Stockport.
And the Manchester airport is so low, only 5 miles.
The bus station was 1 minute across the road. The train station was a 5-minute walk. The motorway was 2 minutes.
Also, Manchester City is only 10 minutes on the train.
Yeah.
It's just like it's so convenient for everybody. I mean, like,
they've got big hotels next to the train station right there.
I mean, there are 4 big hotels, Travel Lodge, all they are around Stockport. It's a walking distance.
It was perfect. It was such a perfect venue. But this guy was just being a dick and then it couldn't be done.
Well, you know what? You remember when I told you when we started communicating, I said, this guy is not interested.
You said that right from the get-go, I remember.
Yeah, I told you the guy is just waste of time.
And he was.
Yeah. I mean, sadly, we could have had a really good festival there,
Yeah. And what what I might do, and maybe not having a festival, but I've been talking to Mark Stanley from Kingdom of Madness, because like obviously they do the Magnum songs. Gabby's album, she does the Magnum song on that album. The next album's going to have a Magnum song on it. And I thought, wow, that's a perfect double to do as a double not headliner, but. And I thought, oh yeah, because we get Jimmy Kyle as well. So I'm talking with Mark Stanley to see about, and they've never played Spain. So Gabby's got a lot of contacts over in Spain. So the idea is, yeah, let's see if we get Kingdom of Madness. We'll do maybe 4 or 5 songs over in Spain with Gabriel Deval and Jimmy Kyle supporting. And then they come over here and do 4 or 5 shows over here. It's only 3 bands, it's not a festival, but we see how that goes. We'll sell. The important thing is to sell merch, because that's really the way you sell merch these days, is when you play live. So hopefully that's going to work out. And if that does work out and it does well, we can look at doing other bands. You know, I always wanted Overland to tour live.
Yes.
And you said Robert Salz wanted to play live anyway, and to do that album. That would be great. And then, so let's see how it goes. Maybe not a full festival, but let's
So
start.
we haven't given up on the idea, you know.
We haven't given up on the idea, but it has to be, the timing has to be right.
Yeah, it has to be around, you know, springtime or autumn, but not.
Yes, it has to be late in the year or early when the
Yeah,
flights are
because
cheap.
you can't have it in the summertime, as you know, the prices of traveling are just ridiculous, you know.
It seems to me that if there's 2 people on this planet that can pull this off and can possibly, you know, resurrect the festival and do all the bands that you just mentioned, it's you two. I mean, in some respects, though, it's got to be an exciting prospect, you know, to get this kind of thing up and going. I mean, I know, yes, it's a load of hard work, and I know at the moment, you know, the pair of you have had sort of like the annoyance of the venues, but in somewhere, I bet in some part of you, it's a case of, you know, we really want to get these up and going, because to be fair with you two, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I still want, and to be honest, I haven't fallen out with Kieran. I still love to have Kieran involved and do everything together, you know. And when we're looking at Fire Escape, I looked up online on the trademark sites, and somebody actually did a concert and called it Firefest in 2017. It wasn't our style of music; it was somewhere down south, and they called it Firefest. And somebody had actually raised a trademark for Firefest in 2017, which again wasn't to do with festivals and that. But I thought, wow, that's a bit, you know, I don't want somebody having a festival calling it Firefest after me and Kieran had done it for 10 years. So I applied for the trademark for concerts, for magazines, for merchandise, for Firefest, and I got it. So I now own the Firefest trademark, and I still love me and Kieran, and sometime in the future as well, do another Firefest, because I haven't closed the door to that either. Although people accuse me of trying to steal Kieran's idea, when Firefest was really just a continuation of the gods, and Firefest was fireworks festival. So, you know, I've got as much right to use it as anyone.
Well, you've got the trademark for it now, and nobody can
I
take
do now.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, how excited would you be about that, Khalil, as well, to sort of come on and do, you know, a festival? Because, again, of all the acts that you've got, it's just crying out for it, surely.
Yeah, I mean, like I've been telling Steve Overland for the last 10 years to go out and do the solo show, because, you know, nobody's his solo, you know, concert, because I think he will draw more fan than FM, because FM been touring for every month, every 6 months they are playing live, and fan they haven't come and see Steve Overland solo, you know. So I've been telling Steve, you have to do the show, because selling records, you don't make money. You don't make money only by touring. They're selling. You can sell CD, you can sell T-shirt, you can sell merchandise. Where you make money, that will help, you know, the artist, help the record company. But making a record, just, you know, putting it out 2 months later, everything forgotten. People just forget about it, you know. The life of the album is no more than 2.5 months to 3 months. And then it's gone, really. Artists need to play live.
Yes.
They do need to play live. I mean, it's no use to record a project and just, because people, they can listen to it on Spotify and that's it. But play live, they want to buy the t-shirt, they want to buy the mug, they want to buy, maybe program, cap, baseball cap, which Bruce needs it so badly.
Oh, fuck off.
No comment. It's been absolutely fantastic. This, I mean, you put in a lot of work. Let's be honest, you do put in a lot of work, and I urge our listeners to go and visit your website, go and visit Escape Music website, because there's an awful lot of good bands out there and an awful lot of good stuff on that website. And like I say, the Turkish Delight albums alone are worth it. They are brilliant. And there's another one coming. Is just absolutely mouth-watering already. So looking forward to that one already.
Also, Pete, also something special on Circle of Friend 2, which is we're just finishing, which is absolutely, the second album is stunning. Really, I mean, if you enjoyed the first one, the second Circle of Friend, if as good, if not better. Really, because it's some fantastic songs, and Bruce chose some of his favorite song, on the re-recording, like Rainbow track, like Saxon track, which turned up. Even the Saxon track was sent to Biff from Saxon through the drummer Nigel Glocker, and he really approved it, and he really thought it was a great job was done. And there are some really killer songs. I mean, we've done a track by what's the name? Bruce, your Midnight Sensation.
Oh, the Van Zandt track.
Van Zandt track, that is turned up really great.
That's
really,
Macaulay on vocals, and
that's Robert Macaulay. He really nailed it. Really nailed it. So there are some fantastic song. I mean, like, you cannot, forget about this.
Well, I didn't forget about it, but you told me it's going to come out in February next year. My God,
yes,
it's so long away. So
still we haven't finished completely, because I'm still mixing.
Yeah,
with Red. I mean, it's still need to mix Rainbow song.
Yeah, Harry Hess singing that Rainbow song was just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, when I heard Harry singing it, and I said, this is, Joel and Turner. I said, this can't be Harry. And then I went to the, vocal track. I mute the music. It is Harry singing it, and just blew me away. So what a performance. And Harry said to me, look, if Joe can sing that way, I can sing better, So, I mean, honestly, something really, Circle of Friend 2 is really something special.
Thanks for that, Khalil. That's a good opening gambit anyway.
It's a fact, because it's a great selection of original music from Steve Overland, which is, and also original music from Mick Devine, and Mick has done a lot of BVs on the album. I mean, like Gabby done a few songs, which is really, she's
Gabby's not in the Circle of
Friend. Sorry, but she's done a backing vocal, I think, on one or two.
No?
Oh, sorry. I'm getting confused now between them, Yeah, but when you're working on so many albums, I mean,
sometimes you try to find them in your computer, like, I don't know where to put them. I don't put some somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, like, working on Gabby's album, working on Circle of Friend, working on Turkey, like, you get confused. What am I, No, but there are some really fantastic songs on Circle.
It's definitely heavier. The Circle of Friends 2 is definitely heavier than Circle of Friends 1. Circle of Friends 1 was an 8-hour album. This is a hard rock album.
Yes. And a really great musicianship also.
So there you go, listeners. Another great one to be looking out for. February 2024, I believe, is a date. But there's so many great things coming out. There's a Steve Overland, the Hurricane, the Jelusick. There's just absolutely loads coming out from Escape Music. So again, people, get on that website. You know what to do.
Before, Pete, we finish, also we have in November, we have a band called Attic with the Keith, Attic on guitar. and Nick Foley on keyboard, and Lee Small on vocal. Chris Child on bass, and the drummer is the guy from Shy, Bob Richards, from Shy, and Bob. My apology, because there are so many musicians in my head. Sometimes I forget who played what. Yeah, Bob Richards on drum, and it's a stunning album, really, really stunning album. Yeah, so this is in November.
Brilliant, absolutely. They just keep coming. The hits just keep coming. As again, I will leave the link to Escape Music down below. Again, click on it, visit it. We're going to end again on another track, but before we do that, I'm going to say goodbye to my two guests. I've been your host, Pete Arnett. Goodbye, Bruce. Thank you very much for joining us on this episode.
Thanks, everyone. I hope I didn't bore you too much. That was a long one.
You're a boring person, Bruce. You don't.
Oh, shut up, you.
And Khalil, it's been an absolute pleasure. I knew it would be, and the information you've given us is absolutely brilliant. So thank you for being so honest, and thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Pete, my last request is, for the fan, for the public, if you want to keep having good music, you need to support not only us, support all labels, because without you, we will not be here.
Never a truer word said. Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. And we're going to end the show today on Together Alone from Steve Overland's new album. Sit back and enjoy.
Silent words never spoken. We're looking
Thanks for listening.
All views heard in this podcast are from the individual and do not necessarily represent those of Fireworks Rock and Metal Magazine.